You're listening to the Grind Line Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast. I'm your host, Greg, and tonight, unfortunately, I'm doing a solo show, and solo shows suck. This is episode 335, and Ryan is out of town. Tyler is, for some reason, fallen off the face of the planet, like he does every other episode, really, maybe. Tyler had a streak going, and now he's not on. But we do have a mailbag tonight. So tonight we are going to do a mid-season mailbag. We've got a bunch of questions from Twitter, some really good ones. I'm going to try and keep it to a half an hour to respect everyone's time. And I'm going to do this solo, so there will be drink breaks in between. There will be me trying to figure out how to do transitions because I don't have anyone to throw it to. So it'll be a fun night tonight. Halfway through, we'll take a commercial break, but we're going to jump right into it. Our first question comes from Burner. Burner asks, will Sebastian Cossa spend time in the NHL this year? Also shout out Ryan. I also shout out Ryan, though Ryan has some family stuff that he's doing. Sebastian Cossa, top Red Wings goalie prospect right now. Some people would argue that Trey Augustine is better. I say Trey Augustine's not played a professional game yet. Cossa's played an NHL game. He's played 2 seasons in the AHL now. He is, 3 if you count the 3 games that he played the season before when he was with the Toledo Walleye. But he's played 2 seasons in Grand Rapids this last season, 41 games played, with a 2.45 goals against and a 9.11 save percentage. The thing that Cossa has working against him right now is your goalie tandem. You do have a starter in John Gibson, like an exciting, legit starter that you just traded for, that you hope plays a really, really big chunk of games. You have a backup, a veteran backup, reliable backup in Cam Talbot. The only way I can see Cossa getting games this coming season is if someone goes down. Now, it's possible. Gibson has injury history. Talbot has injury history. Do we see one of them go down for a little bit and Sebastian gets a call? I think so. Do we see them going with 3 goalie rotation? We had talked about this a few weeks ago. I don't think so. I don't think you see another 3 goalie rotation with Alex Lyon departing the organization, the trading of Peter Mrazek. I think you go in with Talbot and you go in with Gibson, and if one goes down, Cossa gets some games. I mean, he's still only 22. His birthday's in November. There was a very long time where a lot of goalies didn't break in until around 24, but he had a good start to last season. He fell off a little bit the second half. He got benched in the playoffs, and then I thought it was a questionable decision to start Campbell for the other playoff game and to take Cossa out, and the Griffins were kicked out of the playoffs. So maybe he has a crazy summer, maybe he blows the doors down, maybe he takes that spot, but I think it's a really big stretch. But do we see Cossa play some games? I would say with goalie injury history, I would say Cossa plays some games. I think you see him in a handful this season. Next from Rowan, could we beat the hosts of Locked On Red Wings in a fight on opening night in the LCA forecourt, which must be an Australian way of saying like the atrium, the outside part of the arena. I was gonna say no to this, but Brian stole my mailbag. We posted the call for questions, and then Brian posted like an hour later they were going to do a mailbag as well because he was going to the Tigers game today. So hopefully the Tigers are winning, Brian, or you tried out to be a bat for the Tigers. But no, Scotty is much bigger than me. Ryan probably could, though. Ryan was in the Army. Ryan could beat people up, but Scotty's bigger than me. So I think Scotty could beat me up. So we might come out as a wash on that one. From DieGP at Diego Gomez on Twitter, should we, this is the 3-part question, 2-part question. Should we tank and try to have a shot at Gavin McKenna? No, we shouldn't. You can't ask players to tank. So here's kind of what you have going against you for that. You got a full off season of Todd McClellan. He gets his system in place that he wants in place. He works with the guys on the power play and the penalty kill. You gain some depth in James Van Riemsdyk, who could play top 6 for you this season. Should he? No, but he could play top 6 for you this season. You get another season of Marco Kasper just taking another step forward. Lucas Raymond hopefully taking another step forward. Mo Seider improving. A fully healthy Dylan Larkin back. Patrick Kane again. Alex DeBrincat again. Mason Appleton, who can hopefully help you on the penalty kill. John Gibson, who steals games for you. I don't think you can't ask the guys to tank because they won't. And you can't ask the coach to tank because it's his job to win games. And you didn't put them in a position to be bad. You actually put them in a position to, on paper, get better. Now, is it a huge leap better? No. But it's marginally better. Did you do more than the Canadians or the Senators? Well, the Canadians, they went out and they got Noah Dobson. But, I mean, you look at the teams above us, like the Lightning stayed the same or got worse. The Panthers, they stayed the same as they were in the playoffs. They're going to be the team to beat. The Maple Leafs lost a 100-point player, so they got worse. The Sabres really didn't do much. They got rid of Peterka. The Bruins, I mean, it could shake out the same as it has this past year in the Atlantic. The Maple Leafs could fall a bit. The Lightning could fall a bit if Vasi starts showing some cracks. But the Red Wings ended with 86 points, the Canadians with 91. I think the Canadians are the biggest targets for a regression. I think they played way above their means with the breakout of Lane Hutson. And if people get a read on Lane Hutson, he has a slump, it's totally possible. So I don't think they have enough to be as bad as a team like, let's say, I think the Flyers will be worse, the Penguins will be worse, the Blackhawks will be worse, hopefully the Ducks again. You have too much talent to tank for McKenna. I just don't think it's going to happen. The second part of the question, when should the Red Wings be reaching the Stanley Cup Finals? Within the next 3, 4, 5 seasons, or more than 5? Finals are hard to predict. I think you like to look at when they're going to be in the playoffs, and then when are they going to be a playoff contender, meaning continuously have a chance to make it to the finals. Not a guarantee, because upsets happen and weird things happen all the time. But I think you should expect the Red Wings in the playoffs next season. I know it's weird to say with what I just said about we got marginally better and everyone around us got better or stayed the same. But you hope for those young guys that carry you forward. You hope Yzerman makes another move here in the next month to get a top 6 forward. I mean, the word is he's still in the market for a top 6 forward. So maybe another move happens. But I would say this season we should be in the playoffs. Like, that's your goal, is to make it. To be a competitor, to be competing in the playoffs, I would say that you are looking at 2, 3 seasons, probably 3 seasons, because then you're looking at getting guys in, Nate Danielson in an established role, ASP in an established role, Michael Bransick-Nygaard in an established role. And you're getting these big name prospects up in the system, and they're really contributing to your team. And then Casper's established, Mo's a vet, Raymond's a vet. You're moving out someone like Patrick Kane and hopefully bringing in someone like a Buchelnikov. And in 3 seasons, they've got enough under their belt to start really making that push. And they're surrounded by solid veterans and hopefully guys like DeBrincat. You've got Larkin locked up. That is when I can see the team actually taking a push forward rather than just making the playoffs. From Drifting at Drifting282, who is someone on the team, a vet, you'd like to see step up and have a great year this year? And this is when I kind of thought about, like, Patrick Kane had a great year last year after Todd came in. Cat is a vet and he's doing great. Larkin's a vet and he's gotten better every year. I would say Andrew Kopp, although he was good last season, like, people love to bash Andrew Kopp and say, because they look at the score sheet and they say, what's Andrew Kopp doing? And in the 56 games he played, he had 10 goals and 13 assists for 23 points. So he's a half a point per game player, basically. He was pretty close to half a point per game player. And that's kind of what you want to ask out of Andrew Kopp. I think he has a little bit more offensive potential in him, maybe. Maybe he hits if he did 10 goals in 56 games, maybe he's got a 20-goal season in him. He's never had a 20-goal season. His top is 15. 15 goals, 24 assists for 39 points is the most. Actually, no, he had 9 goals and 33 assists for 42 points. But 15 goals is the most he's ever had. So maybe Andrew Kopp gets 17. Maybe he plays a full season. But you really get that impact from Andrew Kopp on the defense. So he's the vet, I would say, needs to step it up. I would say JT Compher, but I think there's a chance he gets moved. I think Comfer has a lot more offense in him than he showed last season. He kind of dropped off. But I would say Andrew Kopp is the guy, not that really we need to see step up, but I know is that guy that can step in with all these other guys around him and just be a pretty big force on the ice. Because when he went down, we lost a lot of defense. And that's where you started to see the Red Wings start to slip a bit. So I think this is a good place to take a break. We're going to take a break. I'm going to take a drink because I've been talking and getting dry mouth. So word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. During our quick break, I just want to tell everyone about something that's totally changed my mornings. Strong Coffee Company. If you're like me, you love your coffee, but you also want it to actually do something for you. This is the upgrade you've been looking for. Strong Coffee isn't your average cup of joe. It's an all-in-one instant blend made for people who care about their health and performance. You're getting 15 grams of grass-fed protein, 5 grams of MCTs for long-lasting energy, and adaptogens like ashwagandha and L-theanine to help you stay calm, focused, and productive without the jitters or crash. The black blend is bold and smooth, made from organic fair-trade Arabica beans, and their lattes, they've got collagen, hyaluronic acid, healthy fats, the works. It tastes amazing and helps you feel sharper, sleep better, and just show up as your best self every day. And on top of all that, they're eco-friendly too, so you can feel good about what you're putting in your body and how it's made. Check them out at strongcoffeecompany.com and use our code GRINDLINE, that's strongcoffeecompany.com, promo code GRINDLINE at checkout for 20% off. That's GRINDLINE for 20% off your order. Give it a shot. I think you're going to love it. And we're back. And before we kick into the second half, I just want to remind everyone that we are on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com, search the Grindline Podcast, sub to us there, turn on those notifications. You'll get notified whenever an episode goes live. We could always use the subs, the likes. It helps get our podcast out among the greater YouTube audience, gets us some exposure. And yeah. So the next question is from Hockey Town Hoodlum at Red Wing Hoodlum. Without a trade, I honestly don't see a spot for Danielson or Mazur unless there's an injury. They paid Bergie a good amount, so I don't see him going to Grand Rapids. Isn't that a good thing? No, I don't think it's a good thing. Now, the roster, though it may look set, I wouldn't say is fully set. So right now your forwards are Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Kopp, Comfer, Rasmussen, Kane, Appleton, Berggren, Soderblom, JVR, and Marco Kasper. You've got Carter Mazur signed. You've got Austin Watson signed as well. If you're looking at it and you are saying, where can I find spots? I think that's still where trades come in. Berggren signed a 1-year, $1.825 million deal. That's completely movable. If a trade comes along and say they're still looking at an Erik Karlsson and you want to send a Berggren back in that deal, it's doable. You want to send out JT Compher for a 4th round pick or whatever. You can do that and make space. Carter Mazur, if he wouldn't have been injured last season, if he wouldn't have got injured in his second shift, would have finished the year with the Detroit Red Wings. I fully expect him to make a huge push to make the roster this season and kick someone else out. Could you trade a Michael Rasmussen to make room? Yes. Does Nate Danielson force his way onto the roster? I think it's completely possible that he does. Now, we said the same thing last season about Marco Kasper. Where's the room? And someone goes down. Marco Kasper only missed like the first 6 games of the season and was able to come in and play. So I wouldn't look at the roster and say all the spots are full. Now no one else can play because moves can still be made. It is July 24th. Preseason doesn't start into training camp and preseason's in September. I wouldn't worry too much about guys like Danielson or Mazur because if they do knock the doors down, room can be made and there are movable contracts to be able to make that room. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. Caleb Van Z at CVMSU 2017 asks, how many points do you think the Wings will miss the playoffs by? I'm going to be an eternal optimist and say I think the Wings will make the playoffs, if only by a point or two. And if they miss it, I think it will only be by a point or two. Like I said, a lot of teams around us either stayed the same or got a little better. I think switching goalie was a huge step for us. Being able to pick up a legitimate starter is a big step. To put a defense around him, though our defense is not great, it is better than Anaheim's defense. And to put that around him and give him that confidence. And if he bounces back to prime Gibson, at that point, again, you see that step forward from Casper, that step forward from Raymond. Maybe Raymond's a 40-goal scorer. You've got Alex DeBrincat, who hit 39 last season. You get Marco Casper, maybe a 60-point season. You've got the offense there. You need the defense to step up. You need the 5v5 offense to really come through. And I think they helped that with JVR. They helped special teams on the penalty kill, which was one of your weak areas with guys like Appleton. I think you fortified the people in front of the goalie, I think, enough. And you really solidified that goalie position. So if they make it, I think they'll make it by a couple or they'll miss it by a couple. And I don't think it's going to be any like we miss it by 8 points or we're in a not a wild card position, but we're actually in a divisional position. I don't see that happening, but I think that it'll be really close. From David Cuddlehoff at Snot Rocketeer, percentage chance of one or more of the following is playing with the big club within the first 20 games of the season and never looks back. Now, it's the good part, within the first 20 games. So that's kind of like a Marco Casper situation. He lists ASP, Wallander, Mazur, Danielson, MBN, and Lombardi. ASP, I'm going to put that percentage chance that he plays within the first 20 games at about a 10%. Our defense should be decently reliable. I don't see anyone going down really in the first 20 games. Do I think ASP will get some games? Yes, this season, but not in the first 20. Same with Wallander. Wallander, to me, if ASP comes out of the gates in Grand Rapids, has a big summer, comes out of the gates in Grand Rapids and really solidifies himself as the top defenseman, I'm not sure Wallander comes up before him. Though I could also see Wallander getting a couple games this season as well. Carter Mazur, I say yes. I say that's the guy. I'd put him at a 75% chance he sees games in the first 20. I would do the same with Nate Danielson. Nate Danielson had a really good season in Grand Rapids last season. I'd put him at around the same. I'd say about 75%. MBN, maybe 20%. Maybe if he really takes off. Now, he did play really well when he came up and played in the playoffs. He showed his size. He showed his skill. If they look at, hey, guys with size, top power forwards, top 6 power forward potential, that's MBN. I could see him getting games above maybe Danielson if it calls for it. And then Lombardi, I'd say Lombardi's probably about as low as Wallander. Do I think Lombardi will be an NHL player? Yes. I'm not sure that he's one of the first call-ups, though. I think you'd have to have a few injuries for Lombardi to come up. If it's a bottom 6 injury, maybe, because a lot of the guys listed are top 6. Like Danielson should be a top 6 player, MBN top 6 player. Mazur's a bottom 6, so he'd get the call before Lombardi. That one's a little different. I think if a guy like JT Compher goes down, then I think you'd bring in Danielson. If a guy like Michael Rasmussen goes down, you're probably bringing in Danielson. So I'm trying to think of a replacement. I'm bringing in Danielson before Lombardi. So Lombardi, I'd say maybe a 5% chance. From Adam Kerr, what would you guys give up for Dougie Hamilton? I could see Compher in a package as New Jersey doesn't really have a 3C. Could it take something like Compher, a top 10 protected, and a Tuo Misto? So I pulled up Dougie Hamilton. Right now, Dougie Hamilton is 32 years old. He is 6'6", 230 pounds. Last season in New Jersey, played 64 games, had 9 goals, 31 assists for 40 points. Was injured the season before, only played 20 games. But the season before that, 82 games played, 22 goals, 52 assists for 74 points. That was Dougie Hamilton's biggest season on record. A little bit of anomaly because that was his highest point total, but he missed a handful of games a season before. He played 55 games in 2020-21, which I think was the shortened season. Dougie Hamilton's only thing you got to worry about right now, I would think, is injury. He's also not very good defensively. So Dougie Hamilton, if you look at the Evolving Hockey GAR chart, he's an overall 82 with a 94 offense and a 14 defense. You're not looking at Dougie Hamilton for defense. Now, is he a top pair guy? Yes, but he's also a right shot. So unless you move him to the left and you pair him with Sider and let him go out and be a setup guy and Sider go out and play defense, sure. If you put him second pair right, then you pair him with Simon Edvinsson. I think that'd be a really good pair. But then again, do you worry about maybe blocking a guy like ASP? Do you worry about at 30, 34 years old, moving Dougie Hamilton down to a third pair right defenseman. It'd be a really good third pair right defenseman, but he's really expensive. Because right now, Dougie Hamilton is on a $9 million contract signed through 2027-28. If you send back JT Compher, you're giving them back, let's see, what's JT on? He's on a $5.1 million contract. So you're giving them some money back. You're taking it on. You're relieving them of some cap. Tuomisto, I believe, is an AHL level player. I think he's too slow for the NHL, so I'm not sure they'd take him. You could probably get it done for the first and the player, and you might have to throw in not a super high level prospect, but a decent prospect in that mix as well. Or it could be a fit for Berggren if they want if they want a center and an NHL level winger. You could throw in Wallander if you wanted to throw in a defensive prospect as well that's nearly NHL ready. So I think you're in the ballpark for the return. New Jersey, I don't think has to ship him because they've got about a little over $6 million in cap space right now. So I don't think they're in a rush to trade Dougie Hamilton, but alleviating them of that cap gives them more room next season when there is a far better free agent class and they don't have a lot of guys falling off. So they could do it, and I think you're around the ask. I just think they'd want a better prospect over Tuomisto. And finally, our last question tonight, and I blew through these. You guys are, one, lucky that you only had to listen to me for this long. And it's been I haven't lost my voice, which is great. Carter, our friend Carter over on our Discord and on Twitter at Tweets of Carter. Your guess on rookies in the opening night roster, and I think this one is really easy. I think Carter Mazur has a really good shot of making the opening night roster. Other than that, he may be our only one. And that's not to say, again, he's the only one playing next season. But I think he is the only one to make the opening night roster because of what we have already in. And like they said, if there's a jam, we can make room because of a jam. But I don't think we're going to make room for 3 guys because of the jam. I think there's a rookie that has a chance to make it. And I think that rookie, and people yell at me and they'll say, ASP, get ASP ready. I think they're going to give him a little time to just settle into North America on a consistent basis to bring him in. But I think Carter Mazur has shown really all he can at the AHL level and has absolutely earned it. But that's going to be our show for tonight. You can follow me online at Bringing the Wing. You follow the Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. Like I said earlier, sub to us over on YouTube and turn on those notifications. You'll be notified whenever an episode goes live. Like to give a shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network at HockeyPodNet for hosting us and spreading us around. And the Vintage Detroit Collection, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys from and worked on, and where we have an exclusive t-shirt collection. So if you go to their website, click the Keep It Local tab, click the Grindline Podcast, you'll find all our designs there. And we get a little kickback from them, and we love supporting them because they make an amazing product. Super soft shirts, really good designs. I'll have to make some more this year, get a Casper shirt going. But that is going to do it for us tonight. So for Greg and the missing Tyler and Ryan, you stay classy, Hockeytown.